On Nexus Point, assumptions are dangerous currency. Most species here possess entirely different anatomical arrangements for making them, but the principle remains universal. Trust the wrong silence, and you end up dead. I'm Cathar, a mid-level administrator on this floating circus of commerce, and 3 cycles ago, I thought I had the universe figured out. I believed humans were the galaxy's punchline: soft skin, no claws, emotional fragility. They were the joy pets of sentient races, cute but utterly helpless. Damian Cross and Iris Blackwood were the perfect specimens of this apparent weakness. They piloted the Second Dawn, a modest hauler that screamed small time, and they radiated a sickeningly sweet affection. Iris was all grace, a diplomat who smoothed over interspecies tension with a smile. Damian was the quiet logistics man who disappeared in crowds, dressing in simple clothes and speaking in hushed tones. Watching them was like observing a house of cards in a wind tunnel, beautiful, fragile, and destined to collapse. The Crextoni, hulking reptilian bullies who controlled the station's vice, laughed at their protein intolerances. The Thor Grim mocked their puny size. I just pitied them. In a universe governed by teeth and plasma, love usually looks a lot like a target. The unraveling began with a mundane shipping contract. Boss Vorak, the Crextoni kingpin, didn't appreciate sharing profits on rare minerals. His lieutenant, Gorix, cornered Damian in the main hall, looming over him with 8 feet of armored muscle. He expected fear. Instead, Damian offered paperwork, calm logic, and polite de-escalation. But to a predator, a lack of fear isn't bravery. It's an insult. Vorak decided to teach the soft humans a lesson about the food chain. While Damian was away finalizing a deal, 3 Crextoni boarded the Second Dawn, bypassed the locks with claws, and broke Iris. It was calculated cruelty, leaving her barely alive, a message written in fractured bones and internal bleeding. I was monitoring the security feeds when Damian returned. I expected the messy, loud grief typical of short-lived species: tears, screaming, futile threats. Instead, I witnessed a terrifying stillness. He docked with mechanical precision and walked to the medical bay where Sorrow of Distant Stars, our best Vashtai healer, fought to keep Iris's spirit tethered to her broken body. Damian held her hand for exactly 6 hours and 43 minutes. He whispered a promise against her forehead, and then the traitor vanished. He retrieved an old, nondescript duffel bag from a hidden bulkhead on his ship. He accessed the station's archives to map Crextoni movements with a proficiency that made my scales itch. It wasn't revenge, it was a surgical excision. First was Zeptok, the lookout. He died in a crowded observation lounge, his spinal cord severed so cleanly by a thin blade that he didn't even spill his coffee. The autopsy showed his spine was sitting in his lap. Next was Morex, the enforcer. Security found him in his locked quarters, his primary heart surgically removed and placed on his nightstand, still beating, connected by extended arteries. He had been left alive just long enough to understand exactly what was happening to him. It was a level of anatomical violation that requires either a medical degree or a history of nightmares. Vorak, blinded by apex arrogance, refused to see the predator closing in. He gathered his remaining crew and stormed Docking Bay 12, intending to crush the uprising with overwhelming force. They found Damian sitting on his cargo ramp, hands folded, that unassuming duffel bag beside him. "You think you can kill my people?" Vorak bellowed, his voice shaking the deck plates. Damian stood up, unzipping the bag to reveal not a blaster, but a matte black combat knife. Terran Death Corps, 3rd Battalion, "Xenocide Division," he recited, his voice devoid of the traitor's warmth. "Served 6 years in the Outer Rim. We specialize in close-quarters elimination of hostile alien combatants." The fight lasted 30 seconds. It was a blur of motion my optical sensors struggled to track. 4 heavy worlders hit the deck in various stages of disassembly. Then Damien dismantled Vorak. Literally, he held the massive alien down and disconnected his spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, explaining the structural importance of the nervous system, while Vorak gasped in paralyzed horror. "This is for Iris," he said, wiping the blade on Vorak's shirt. The moment the medical alert chimed, Iris was awake. The monster vanished. Damien packed his bag and returned to the medbay, his eyes soft, his touch gentle. They walked out together an hour later, a loving couple supporting each other, leaving a pile of bodies and a shattered criminal empire in their wake. The galaxy is slowly waking up to a new truth. The Thor Grimm now bow respectfully to humans. The criminals have updated their target profiles to exclude the soft species. And me? I learned that we were right about humans being soft, but wrong about what that meant. They aren't harmless. They are reservoirs of violence held back by a dam of civility. They choose peace every single day, right until you give them a reason not to. And in this cold, dark universe, there is nothing more terrifying than a monster that has chosen to be a man, until you force him to pick up the knife again.